This video is a quick overview of the aesthetics assignment. So, what is aesthetics? It's the study of beauty in both nature and art. And it asks questions such as, does art have to be beautiful? Who decides what's good art? Why do different cultures feel differently about what is beautiful and what is art and what is not art? And all those kind of big questions like that. And so for this assignment, what you're going to be doing is taking 4 pictures in which you photograph either kind of everyday objects that we consider kind of boring or things that we would never consider as beautiful, but use all of the ideas that we've learned so far this semester in terms of active choices, visual organization, shadows, all of those kinds of things to build a beautiful picture of kind of boring or ugly things. So I don't want pictures of sunsets. I don't want pictures of, puppies or flowers or anything that we generally consider to be beautiful. I want pictures of kind of boring or ugly things, but use everything that you know in building a photo to make it a really beautiful, aesthetically pleasing image. So if we look here, we can see like these are just kind of normal books, right? Photographed in a very boring way. But this is a book where the image really transcends our idea of a book and becomes a much more interesting and beautiful image. Or here. This I just think is a gorgeous photo of a book. Part of photography is showing us the world in a new way. So this to me really makes me think of this book in a way that I've never thought of books before. Here we have a boring picture of a scarf. And in this one, the scarf seems alive. It seems like a piece of sculpture, right? It's such beautiful. I mean, yes, it is kind of a beautiful background, though very plain, but it's really been transformed into something more than just like this boring red scarf. This is a very famous image by Edward Weston. Not this one, but the one on the right. So this is just a boring picture of a green pepper. But here, Edward Weston used all those active choices that we talk about in class in terms of lighting, picking an interesting pepper to begin with, the angle, even the fact that he kind of crops in the edges and we get this activated negative space in the background. If it was just kind of floating in the middle, that would be, you'd have almost like extra space around it and it wouldn't be activated. But here, because it's kind of closer, it kind of cuts up this background space into a more interesting way. So you can either take those boring objects like we just saw and photograph them in a really beautiful way, or go to like kind of a ugly location or take pictures of things like rusted lobster traps or something like that, but photograph them using all the knowledge you have so far. So like here we have strong shape, we have repetition, we have line, we have leading lines, all those things to make this a stronger image. Here, I believe this is a sewer pipe. And so we've got those shafts of light. So we're using those choices and those tools we know about shooting with light and shadows. We have repetition. We have very strong geometric shapes. Here, I like how it plays with scale. These are they moorings, something like that. Anyway, the moorings are much closer to us while this huge boat is farther away and looks tiny. The background is cut up with this kind of negative space here, right? And we get these strong geometric shapes in the background. And it all works together to make a very pleasing image. I don't know if these are cabanas at the beach or vents on a roof, but the symmetry of them is really beautiful and the strong shape and repetition. So the rest of these pictures, you can kind of go through. I do want to mention this one again, Excusado by Edward Weston, the guy who took the pepper photo. You don't usually look at a toilet unless you're like puking your guts out or something this way. But I think it makes us, again, look at the world in a new way. And you really notice like wow, a toilet is actually a very smooth, beautiful, sculptural type of object. And without him taking this picture at an angle that we don't usually see, we would never think of it that way. So again, with these images, you got contrast in terms of color and shape and everything here, and repetition. This is really beautiful. The way the light hits emphasizes that positive negative space. Um, I love this image. I love the purple and the kind of reddish. I like that this is over to the side and it's in the top third, this curve. So even though it's just this crumbling kind of corner and faucet with some leaves, it's a very aesthetically beautiful and pleasing image. We've got strong shape here, leading lines, great texture. I feel like that little hanging piece almost injects a little bit of humor into this image and definitely becomes a focal point. And I love the contrast of life versus the concrete, and life finds a way. This is a really beautiful image, and all it is kind of oil on concrete or on asphalt. So look in the world around you. See if you can use almost like a visual scavenger hunt again, to use the skills that you've learned so far to create an interesting image. Now, the one thing that I do not want you to do, absolutely do not want you to do, is don't just take a picture of garbage like in a forest or whatever, because you're all smarter than that, and that's a very lazy kind of way to take a photo. So don't just take a picture of some garbage in the forest, like unless you really, I don't know, just avoid it as is. I want you to look more at the space around you in a new way and see if you can make an aesthetically pleasing photo. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing your images.